Hey everyone, this is Heather Havenwood, and I'm so excited for this new podcast today. And my name is Heather Havenwood. Welcome to Like a Boss Influence with entrepreneurs and badass celebrities. I'm actually going to be talking about some really cool stuff today, which is the day I met Martha fucking Stewart. I am so excited to talk to you about this today. And let me tell you a little bit why. First off, I was born in 1975. See now how old I am. And I grew up in the 80s. So there's two women in my life that truly, outside of my mom, made a huge impact in my life. And that was Madonna and Martha. Woo! So like the two women in my life that I would truly love to meet are Martha and Madonna. Yes, of course, I would love to meet Oprah. No lie. But I think Martha and Madonna made a bigger impact because Oprah was becoming to kind of come out when I was in my 20s and I was already focused on career. And I remember at my job at the time, we had like Oprah going on in the background, like randomly in the middle of the customer service area. And so I remember going, oh, what's that talk show? So I didn't have the impact. Oprah didn't have that impact. But Martha, oh girl, Martha had impact. Now, the way she had impact was definitely not on my cooking skills or my decorating skills. It was truly on just being a badass woman. Here's a couple things. I want to tell you a little bit what happened. First of all, I was in New York City. It was truly, oh my God. It was such a magnificent weekend. I was only there for like 3 days and it was unbelievable. A couple things I did. One, I met Martha Stewart, Iced Tea Coco at Carnegie Hall. I've never been to Carnegie Hall before. We're there for 2 days in Carnegie Hall. It was gorgeous, walking around all day. It's not just like one event, like all day, and seeing on the writing on the wall, like who's donated, the who's who of New York donated money to Carnegie Hall, and looking for different people and political people, and just that was cool. Like just looking at that list. I don't know why I have this thing about the donor list of really big establishments like that. I feel like if you could put your name on that kind of level of a donor wall, like you're the shit. So who was on there? Of course, Trump was on there. The Bass family. And the reason why I know the Bass family is because I lived in Fort Worth for a couple of years. And if you've ever been to Fort Worth, you would know the Bass family pretty much owns all Fort Worth, but that's for another story. So I'm at Carnegie Hall there for 2 days, just beautiful facility, just magnificent. The energy of that facility was just unbelievable. And one of the things I learned from this event from Clint Arthur was the event Living Legends, once in a lifetime event, never going to happen again. And, he really opened my eyes. Clint Arthur really opened my eyes. And what he opened my eyes to is why have seminars at a Hyatt or a Marriott or whatever the hell, a Hilton, when you can have it in Carnegie Hall, when you can have it at the Nixon Library, when you can have it at whatever, like, why have events at boring places? Now, it's going to cost you more. It's going to be more a pain in the ass, but the element of the experience at the next level is just fantastic. So anyone who was on stage and while we were there, we didn't just meet Martha Stewart at the Hyatt. We met Martha Stewart Carnegie Hall. I met Martha Stewart and Coco and Ice-T and the Scorpion and Michael Gerber at Carnegie Hall. I mean, there's a whole other level to that. But I want to tell you what I learned from Martha Stewart. Now, in other episodes, I'm going to be talking about what I learned from Ice-T and Coco and the Scorpion. Oh my God, the Scorpion. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go to conciergeus.com. He was like, he's got like a genius IQ of 197. In the world of IQ, he calls us IQ, FQ, EQ, BQ. Anyways, his whole world is a construct of Qs. And he literally walked up to me. He goes, you have a high EQ and a high BQ, but you need to probably marry a man that has high FQ and high IQ so that you can increase your FQ. Like, what? I go, did you just tell me that I need to marry a wealthy, smart man? He's like, yes. Oh my God, that was so funny. Okay. So that's what I learned from Scorpion, but that again, another conversation. It kind of threw me. I walked away from that conversation in loop. So let's go back to Martha. Martha. Whoo, she revolutionized a few things. She made being a homemaker cool. She made a homemaker like fun. She made being a wife, stay-at-home mom, or a homemaker like exciting, fun, an art form, a job, a whole nother level. Now we got to get before that, because her first book was in the 80s. Before that, you saw on TV in the 50s and 60s, women who were the housemaker per se were like boring, or the men came home, they had everything cooked for them and they had the slippers, the whole thing. Like there was kind of like a no art form kind of thing in homemaking. I had to take homemaking class, which is absolutely horrible. Back then I had to learn how to cook. Men and women had to do it, but I remember the men in the boys in the school, junior high and high school, would say things like, I don't ever have to do this because women in my life are going to do it. Like stuff like that. Like it was very ingrained to be a housemaker. And now I was not attracted to that. Obviously, I'm not very good at cooking. I couldn't stand it. I always thought I was going to, date or marry a chef anyway. But what Martha did is she revolutionized it to be cool, to be fun, to be artistic, to be creative as a homemaker, as a wife, like that. It was like a whole nother level. Parties and birthdays and weddings. She made it an art form, and she made a lot of money from it. Okay. But a couple things I wanted to let you know that she was such a rebel on. She's such a rebel. When she first started her first book, she was age 41. Now sink that in, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of you who go, oh, I'm older and all the millennials are coming up and they're catching me, whatever, I can't do this. She did not publish her first book until she was 41. People, I'm 44. And sometimes I feel like I'm behind the scenes. I feel like I'm behind, I'm like, oh my God, I got to catch up. 41 was her first book. She has been doing this for 37 years. That woman is 78 and she is amazing. She looks fantastic. We're going to do that in a second. But 41, her first book. God, guys, can you imagine starting a business in your 40s that you do for 37 years and you're a billionaire? That's what she did. Now, a couple of things she did rebellious-wise. One, she lived a Connecticut life. You know what I mean by that? Like the Connecticut Hampton life. She lived that life. Her husband, when she first married, was a multimillionaire. I looked this up. His net worth was like 600 something million. I don't know what he was in, something broadcasting. I'm not exactly sure. Not obviously a name that I could drop. His last name was Stewart. So that's where she got her last name from. She had a kid. She had one little daughter at the time. She had a child. So she divorced and started the Martha Stewart, world. She was 41 and divorced. Think about this a second. She's 41, divorced in the 80s with a 10-year-old kid. So a single mom with a 10-year-old kid, divorced from the Connecticut Hampton world, and she starts her own empire. Now, nowadays it's like, that's a big deal back then. My mom got divorced in 84, 85, and she was like outcasted because she was this single woman with kids. Like you talk about outcasting. We weren't allowed to go to church. It was these constant outcasting conversations. She wasn't allowed to go to events or parties because she was a single woman. In the 80s, it was very outcasted, especially as what I call the white woman thing. It was, we lived in the burbs in Houston, definitely not Connecticut world, but we lived in what I call upper middle class. And my mom was really outcasted and we lost everything from that. But so I understand what it took for Martha, who lived in this lavish life already, being married to a man that was, I understand, well off. And who knows what happened to the relationship. There wasn't a lot of talk about the relationship. But for whatever reason, they divorced. And she had a kid, who's only 10, so a young child. And she decided to go on her own. And I'm giving you this information because I think every person listening who's like, I can't do it, or I have to have my husband or wife's support, or I have a small kid, or like whatever that my mom doesn't support me, my father doesn't support, my family doesn't support me. Martha did it. Martha did it. Okay. So that's the first thing I learned from Martha. Number one, she started at 41 and she's still kicking it and she's a billionaire. All right. Number two, she'd been doing this for 37 years. This woman's 78. Now imagine if you started doing a business where you could still be doing it at age 78 and look fabulous. The woman looked fabulous. There's a picture online. Her skin was magnificent. Now, who knows what she's getting jobs. I don't know. But she looked amazing for 78. She looked better than some 60-year-old women that I know, or men, vice versa. And she looked amazing. She takes care of herself. Another thing I learned, she goes to the dentist every 4 months, not 6 months, 4 months. I think that's brilliant. And there are studies, you're welcome to look this up. 85% of all diseases start in the mouth. So that makes sense. As you get older, she's going more frequently versus less. She goes every 4 months to get full teeth clean. She talked about that, flossing, all this stuff that basically she really takes care of her mouth. I think a couple of reasons why she does that. One, it's a huge indicator. Your mouth is a huge indicator of your body. It's a direct correlation. Number two, she's on camera, right? So she's got a smile, big smile. Got to have her teeth good, clean. And so I think that was really interesting. And so I took that down. Like, I'm going to start going to the dentist every 4 months. I think it's a huge component of your health. Okay, so that's the second thing I learned. So she's been kicking it and still doing this for 37 years. Now, next thing I've learned, I'm going to do top three and I'm going to go into some more. Guys, this is such a big one. I just want to take a minute. Such a big one. Okay, I got to go back. Well, she was there. She was being interviewed by Clint, and we all got to submit questions together. So one person was asking the questions, obviously Clint, but we all got to submit as a group. So we got to have some questions that we individually wanted to answer. And she talked about jail, which she calls Yale Camp. Now, if you don't know who Martha Stewart is, you're welcome to look it up. She went to Yale. She calls Yale Camp for 5 months for supposedly inside trading. That happens every day in Wall Street. James Comey at the time was the Attorney General and is the one that focused on her and put her in Yale Camp. So for whatever reason, very kind of a conspiracy theorist thing going on with that. She went to Yale Camp. She calls it jail. Yale Camp and wore, her orange for 5 months. And she just was so funny about this. She said, yeah, I went to Yale for 5 months. I kind of giggled. And she goes, did you know that you can get visitors every day at Yale Camp? And she said, well, she was so funny. She said, yeah, well, I did get visitor every day from my friends. And the people that didn't show up are no longer on my Christmas list. And I think what she was saying there is that you really find out who your friends are when shit hits the fan. I know I've been through that. I've gone through massive financial, emotional trauma. And man, you tell a friend that disappears after that, not a friend. Not a friend. Period. Not a friend. Not a true friend. I've had that personally happen. Okay, so Yale Camp. She goes to Yale Camp. Her stock goes to $1. I am not going to lie. Her stock goes to $1. Let's go. I can actually go look it up. What is her stock now? No one believed in her. This is, by the way, in the 90s. This is before Harvey Weinstein or any weird stuff like that. This is before all that. I'm going to look it up right now. Martha, let's see what Google says. Martha Stewart stock. Let's see what happens. I'll have to look it up in here a second. Look at her actual Canopy growth stock, Martha Stewart, Mayor and Wanda stocks. Oh yeah, she is actually getting into CBD. So, she's become the advisor of a company doing CBD. And so she's getting into that. Wow. She is so awesome. Wow. She's amazing. All right. Here's my point. what's my point? So she goes to Yale for 5 months. She's watching her ticker. She actually made more money after she got out. Now, here's the key. She says to us, when she went to jail, all of her sponsors left her. Okay. And she was on a particular station. I don't know which one, top station, probably NBC, and one of those, right? And they cut her. But before that, because where she got started, now hold on to your seats. Where she got started is PBS. PBS! Then had a network pick her up. Then she went to Yale Camp. All the networks dropped her and a lot of sponsors. She came back from Yale jail, and guess what? PBS is like, come on back, Martha. Because here's the thing with PBS. They don't have sponsors. They don't have advertisers like that. So it's basically an infomercial. So they go, come on back, right? It's a pay-to-play kind of thing, different type of thing. And she got her show back fast. She went right back on the TV and started selling those bed sheets. Boom! She took off. What am I trying to say? People, she made $1 billion on PBS. PBS. How many of you even watch it? How many of you discard it? How many of you go, PBS? She made $1 billion on PBS. Now, what is today's PBS? Everyone say it with me. YouTube, 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 YouTube is the new PBS because you can sell whatever you want. I'm on right now. I'm going to put this on YouTube. I'm going to tell you to go, I can sell stuff right now. Go, 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 buy, 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 buy. No one's going to block me from that, right? I might allow commercials to come in between, which I'm not going to, but I have that control. So when she was asked the question, Martha, what would you tell people here that really want to be on a big TV show, like a network show? She said, don't do it. Focus on YouTube. He's like, no, really, like, what would it take to be on, a real TV show? And she goes, YouTube is a real TV show. People are making millions of dollars on YouTube. That to me was a lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. Why? Because people, let me listen to say this. Truly, 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 you gotta start making videos on YouTube and killing it and focusing and making really, really, really good videos on YouTube. All right. So, number 3 lesson I learned. Martha Stewart made $1 billion on what? PBS. Can you make $1 billion on PBS? I don't know, but you could try to start making money on YouTube, right? That was such a huge aha. It was such a drop the mic pin moment for me that I could have literally walked out of Carnegie Hall, walked out of Manhattan, gotten back on my plane to Austin, and seriously would have felt amazing about the weekend. But that was just the beginning. That was just day one. It was just day one. It was so amazing. I got a chance to get on a really cool boat. We went around Staten Island and we saw Liberty. Oh, the Statue of Liberty was unbelievable. It was so amazing. It was so amazing and so beautiful. And I just was so impressed with, just the statue. It was so great. I just was like blown away. It was a beautiful night. We went to the boat. We stopped. We took pictures. And you can see my Instagram. Okay. So there's that. Whew. Let's see what else. Oh, you know what else with her? She knows content. She knows what she is. She's a content creator. And she said that. I'm a content creator. That's what I do. I'm a content creator. She literally said that. She talked about how she was one of the first people to actually interview Oprah. That was cool. Let's see. She made $1 billion on PBS. She calls jail a Yale. And then, I love this question. So someone asked in the group, so it was asked of her, what type of roof is on your house? And she looked at the audience and then looked at Clint and kind of giggled and said, which house? And you know what? She knew exactly what kind of roof she had. She knew what kind it is, when she got it, why she uses that kind of roof on that house. And then the next house, she's 3 houses, at least that's what she talked about. And one house, she said that it was built in 1929, so we have to keep the aesthetics of that particular roof. She went into all of it. And I just absolutely love that when she just did this kind of wink, wink, giggle, giggle, like, oh, you know, like which house? God, I can't wait till like one day I have that, right? All right. So those are the things I learned from Martha Stewart. Let me tell you a little bit more about the trip. Man, I really got to give Clint Arthur a little shout out. Living Legends event was truly one of a kind. I'm surprised when people weren't there. I get that they didn't really know what to expect. It kind of was how it was shared was like, what is this thing? Living Legends? What does that mean? You know, we got a chance to meet Ice-T and Coco and Marco Gerber. God, he talked about some interesting things. He even said, quote, that coaching was dead. Coaching's dead? What are you talking about? But that's a whole other conversation. But I will want to share with you something that Clint Arthur said that I absolutely adore. He said, when you become a celebrity, you get better looking. Well, hot damn, I agree with him. Ice-T and Coco are 20 years apart. 20 years. He's 60. She's 40. Okay? And she looks hot. I mean, smoking hot. She's got the curves of all the curves. He looks hot. He's hilarious. He is so funny. They work well together. He said, quote, the moment that I started dating Coco, I doubled my revenue. You know why? It's that balance. It's that masculine, feminine energy. It's that understanding the differences. It's understanding how strong the feminine energy is to the masculine energy and vice versa. So I want to leave you with this in all seriousness. Another thing that was something interesting that Coco said. She said, you know, all men, the reason I started dating Ice-T, they've been together for 20 years, was because he was over 40. He was at 40 over 40. And men don't really know what they want until 40. And I agree with that. I agree that most men and women, but more men than women, they really don't understand the trajectory of their life till they hit 40. I agree with that. I really agree with that. And women too. That's why I think it's interesting that Martha didn't start until she was 41. One book, her first little book, and I think it was like on weddings or wedding cakes or something. So check it out. Okay. Is that good? That was good, right? That was so good. That was right there. I spent so many thousands of dollars to get that information. I just gave it to you guys. Just gave it to you guys because there is power in understanding other people's journey. Now we all have our own journey. That, you know, Ice-T's journey is different than Coco's versus Martha Stewart's versus Michael Gerber's, of course. And the journeys aren't linear, but understanding some of the lessons that they have learned along the way is truly, truly important. And I think it's beneficial for everybody. So I'll leave you with this, you know, if you think you're too old to get started, if you think, oh, no one's ever going to want to listen to me, or no one's ever going to buy my bed sheets, right? Well, whatever it is, that's bullshit. It is time. It is time for you to start your business today. Just get started. What do I say? Just get started. All right? That's it. Be you, be real, be the boss of your life. Do more, have more, be more. Seriously. This is Heather Havenwood. Check it out. Check me out at heatherhavenwood.com. Peace.